Sure. Commissioner Booth is absent. Commissioner Hill,
Present.
Commissioner Worth,
Here.
Vice Chair Beamsterfer,
Here.
Chair Lemke.
Present. Commissioner Hill, are you ready for the invocation
sure.
of flag salute?
Do the invocation first. Lord, we ask that you bless all those that are here and give us the wisdom to make good decisions here tonight. Thank you. Amen. Please join me in the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4, approval of minutes. Agenda item number 4A is the approval minutes for the July 19th, 2022 meeting. Did everyone have time to read them?
No comments. I move that we approve the minutes for July 19th, 2022.
Second. I'm not sure if I was there for that meeting. Was I there?
Did you review the minutes?
No.
Mike? No.
Mine shows.
Mine lit up.
There it goes. 3 approve, 1 abstain, so passes. Yes, and we'll go up to roll call for the absence for Commissioner Booth. Please excuse his absence.
We just need to take a vote from the commission. if they
Okay.
like.
The vote is to excuse his absence.
Yes.
Well, heck yes. All right. Is it a vote up here or is it a verbal?
Either way.
All in favor. So passes. Thank you. Number 5, public comment period. At this time, members of the public may only comment on an item not appearing on the agenda. Please adhere to the following when addressing the Planning Commission. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments should be directed to the commission as a whole and not directed to an individual commission member. Please take note that commission can take no action on matters that are not a part of the agenda. Please follow the adopted rules of decorum resolution number 4545. Ms. Hernandez, are there any members via teleconference or Zoom that would like to comment?
I don't have anyone online requesting a comment, and I did not receive any e-comments.
Thank you. Continued items. Item 6A for site development review 21-19 and model home marketing complex 21-005 for DR Horton at Tres Cerritos West. Principal Planner Monique.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the Planning Commission and the community, I'm Monique Elenise Flater. Tonight's item before you is Site Development Review 21-019 and Model Home Complex 21-005. The applicant is DR Horton, Los Angeles Holding Company, Inc. The applicant is Greg Mendoza, and this evening, as well as John Myrie. The project is located at the northeast corner of Old Warren Road and Rose Road, also known today as Celeste Road. The applicant is requesting site development review approval for the architecture of 176 single-family residential lots within tract map number 31513. Site development review by the Planning Commission is required for architecture, plotting of the homes, front yard landscaping, fencing plans, in compliance with the zoning for residential projects for lots more than 5 lots or more. And the applicant is also requesting approval of model home marketing complex plan for the development, including temporary parking. The Planning Commission is provided with the authority to review and impose conditions of approval to which pertain to the development of the property. In addition, the model home complex generally can be approved by the community development director or may be deferred to the Planning Commission, subject to the conditions of approval. And in this case, to streamline the process, it is being presented tonight as well. The property is located in the low-density residential general plan land use designation and has a zoning designation of Tres Cerritos specific plan, SPA 06-001. The Tres Cerritos specific plan was adopted with a mix of single-family residential units consisting of 6,000 to 8,000 square foot lots, sales, and private parks and open space, as well as vernal pool reserves. The property is vested with tract map 31513 and was approved by council in January of 2004. The setting is Tres Cerritos consists of 121 acres of an original 190 acres bounded by now Celeste Road or Rose Road to the south, as well as adjacent to the Eastern Municipal Water District storage tanks and open space owned by City of Hemet, and to the east, Tres Cerritos Hills, and on the west, tract map 31146 of JP Ranch Montero residential development area. Also to the south of the property is known as the Ramona Creek specific area plan, and these three areas are in the process of either development or in different phases of the development process. The applicant is requesting approval of the 176 lots. The lots range between 6,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet minimum. The lots are much larger than that in many cases. In this illustration, you'll see the map identified as Planning Area 1. Planning Area 1 are the minimum 6,000 square foot lots, and the Planning Area 2 is the larger minimum 8,000 square foot lots. The applicant is proposing 5 different floor plan types, 1 single story and 4 2-stories in Spanish, ranch, and Santa Barbara architectural themes, as well as one of the plans includes a multi-gen suite option. Garages include 2-bay garage, and in some options include storage, the tandem. The architectural plans included here is a single story, plan 1. Architectural Plan 2, Plan 3. And the square footages range in size. The first plan was 1,898 square feet. These Plan 2 and 3 range between 2,239 square feet to 2,537 square feet. Plan 4 is 2,432 square feet, which also includes the multi-gen unit. And Plan 5, 2,617 square foot, 4-bedroom, with also included is the multi-gen suite and storage. The plotting within the tract indicates 40 homes to be Plan 1, and the additional homes will be the 2-story product. So it's approximately 20-80%. So 22% is single story and 80%, and it is a mix. So here in this plotting plan, illustrating the different colors, the color in green, the footprint showing in green are your single story plans that are mixed throughout. The single story homes are flanked at the corners of the lots as well, and provide more of an open appearance in the neighborhood. And these are just some of the examples of the plotting. The lots within this neighborhood are in some cases irregular, so they've worked with us to make sure the plotting is appropriate and that they have plenty of their front setbacks are appropriate. And what's really nice about these lots is they have much larger rear yard setbacks. The development in this illustration identifies HOA maintained landscaping. You have in green retention basin, in green C. In blue, you'll have the streetscapes, paseos, and basins. And in orange, you illustrated here is the park area. Some of the entry treatments that you'll see in the landscaping and the street frontages, the streetscapes along Celeste Road and Bugos Drive and Celeste Road and Rhoda Road provide entry monumentation, paved, accent paved entryways, and enhanced landscaping at the entries. The HOA Maintained Park includes streetscapes, paseos, and basin areas. It will include play structure, benches, trash receptacles, cafe-style tables, and picnic tables within a covered shelter. Here is examples of the streetscape treatment that will be along the primary roadways within the subdivision. Your front yard typical landscaping will include 1 street tree per lot and additional landscaping within the right-of-way parkway. The front yard typical landscaping materials consist of black edging cobble, decorative rock design in Sierra cobble, Arizona River cobble, and Mission cobble. The landscape design also includes trees and a mixture of drought tolerant trees and shrubs, vines, and ground covers. And here are some of the front yard typicals for the corner lots and some of the irregular shaped lots. The interior fencing will consist of vinyl material and vinyl gates, with the exception of corner lots and wall returns that will include decorative block walls construction. Additional tubular steel view fencing with pilaster stone columns will be provided where adjacent to open space streetscapes fencing. as well as enhanced column pilaster design, where the properties back up to a street. Here is a zoomed in example of the fencing. The blue is tubular steel. And the pink is delineated as block wall. Vinyl fencing would be illustrated or is highlighted in green. One of the features of this development will include entry monumentation into the development of river rock veneer walls with angular or serpentine style entry monumentation walls, which is a nice feature. The model home complex is being proposed on lots 26, 27, and 28. And will consist of Spanish, Ranch, and Santa Barbara style architecture models, including temporary parking on lot 25 and 88 parking spaces, as well as an accessible outdoor restroom with vinyl fencing and lattice enclosure for screening. Here are the models for the model home complex and the proposed signage for the development. Overall, the development complies with the development standards for the specific plan, and the zoning code is compliant with our single family design guidelines, as well as the city's general plan density for the site. The city council adopted a mitigated negative declaration by resolution 3865 on November 23rd, 2004 for a specific plan amendment. And at that time, there has been no legal challenge brought against the project or the environmental determination. It will not result in an increase in density or intensity to the project, and it's consistent with the mitigation and the previously analyzed under the mitigating monitoring program and negative declaration. Therefore, it is in compliance with section 15162 of the state CEQA guidelines. Property owners and occupants located within 500-foot radius of the property were notified of the public hearing on June 9th, 2022, with a 10-day hearing notice. And at that time, the item was continued to the July meeting, and then the Planning Commission continued to this evening to allow the applicant time to review the conditions of approval for the project. As of the writing of the report, staff did not have any comments from the applicant. The applicant did provide additional correspondence, and which will the recommended action for this evening is that that it is respectfully requested that the Planning Commission approve the site development review and model home complex, but with the with two changes to the conditions of approval 51 and 107. It is requested that condition 51 be omitted from the conditions of approval, as it is a track condition of approval that we can address during during a different process, which would not be tied to the site development review, as well as condition 107 that refers to the improvements for traffic signals. Condition 107G, it is requested that we just add that the improvements that the condition read, the following improvements are also required and shall be designed and installed per the conditions of approval for the subdivision, tentative track map 31513. To install, the new language that would be added would be to install, bond, or pay fair share for the installation of the traffic signal for the traffic signal improvements. This would be condition G, and it would be the same, but we're just wanting to clarify that it's not that the applicant would have to pay to install all the improvements, all the roadway improvements, but that they would install, bond, or pay fair share for the roadway improvements, given that there are other developers working in this neighborhood. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does the commission have any questions for staff?
You asking me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Monique. Thank you. That was a very good presentation. I assume that none of these houses meet the low-income housing requirements. Is that true?
The development will provide market rate housing. However, we have been advised by HCD, Housing and Community Development, by the state of California. For example, the multi-gen suites, should they would qualify under a moderate income qualification. So they would be a different type of affordable housing or opportunity, but this is a market rate development.
Okay. I'm not sure I got a straight answer there, but
So the requirement for the regional housing needs, it would qualify towards our RENA goal to
Yeah.
meeting our housing goals.
yes.
But it would be in the above market, the above moderate housing.
Above moderate. Okay, gotcha. That's all I have for now. What's that?
So the answer is no.
Yeah.
On that change to the condition for the traffic signal, what's the location of that? It's a single signal, or is that?
Yes, that actually is for the traffic signals, and this is actually a track condition that transferred into this development, but it is for the installation of Warren Road north-south at Esplanade Avenue east-west traffic signal, Devonshire Avenue east-west traffic signal, Costin Avenue north-south at Esplanade Avenue east-west traffic signal, and westbound left turn lane, Devonshire Avenue east-west traffic signal, and Florida Avenue east-west traffic signal. Our engineering public works director is here also tonight too, if there's any other additional questions related to that condition.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little more about that. That's a lot of. So yeah, if we can get a little more information on that, that would be great. If I could get a little more information, because if we're just so basically we're saying we're just deferring. I mean, which is understandable. We don't want to burden one particular development with that. So they'll either bond, and then at some point, if the market drops off and we end up having to pull bonds, then the city would lead the project to construct those at some point, right?
Okay.
I'll let, I'm sorry.
Noah Rao, Public Works Director, City Engineer. You're headed down the right path there. So there's obviously a lot of signals there that were listed out, and there's already some that are kind of in the process, in the works, through some other CIP projects. And then, so they would be calculated a share of each of those for this project. And you're right, there would be bonding, and, if things go farther down the road and they're not done, eventually it could end up being a city project.
But is that bonding based on C of Os, or is that bonding based on how does that bonding work, or that fair share? Because if
There's a formula based on all of the public improvements that are to be made, and based on, I believe, a lot of the traffic studies and that it's separated out per development. And then as far as the bonding process, I haven't really looked too closely at all those conditions for this project, but you're on the right path as far as the process goes. Yes.
Right, and I kind of bring that up because of some of some other developments in our community where the city's leading CIP projects that are funded as a result of bonding and some of the challenges that go along with that. And so, not wanting to be in a situation where we're waiting another 20 years for the next cycle to actually be able to start, making those, especially when we're talking about signals and safety and things of that nature. And I'm not implying that this particular development, we need to change that. It's more of probably a policy or process question just for education on how that happens.
It's definitely not our ideal or plan to have the city have to go through and do this.
I understand completely. So
fully support any, change in policy or process that would, eliminate that in the future.
So the change for this particular condition as requested by the applicant, what was, and I'm sorry, I didn't quite,
I think it was
we'll get there in just one second, but what was the specific change from the previous draft?
I believe it
condition?
just specified that it was just that they'd be responsible for their fair share rather than the full signals at all those.
That's an understandable
intersections.
request.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
Thank you.
On Rose, or I believe it's Rose Avenue, is that going to continue to be a 2-lane road after development, or are they going to make that 3-lane, or how? I know they'll be using it for construction too, so there'll be a lot of wear and tear on that road. And my other question is condition 138 on page 213, they want to keep the existing road. I'm not sure if this is the same road, but they want to keep the existing road, and what burden would that create by not doing what the city's asking, but what D.R. Horton applicant is asking for?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the condition number?
It was on page 213 on condition 138. It was about a street.
Okay. So the prior public hearing conditions of approval for this project have been modified since then. So you would have had in the staff report modified. Can you refer to the type of condition that it was for? I can maybe find it because now the conditions are only there should be less conditions as a result of this. So we may have a different, which condition?
So is Rose Avenue, this is not the street they're talking about? Or are they talking about Rose Avenue? I think it's Rose, that main road that.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that for the traffic signal or for the improvements?
Well, is it going to still be 2-lane only, or is it
Oh,
going to
okay.
be?
Right. Okay. So yeah, the D.R. Horton along with, and also John Myrie can answer those questions more specifically on that. But working with other developers, they're working on having that to be included as two lanes with bike lanes, including and parkway. So they're going to enhance and expand the roadways to accommodate 2 lanes, bike lanes, and parkway.
Oh, sorry, more questions? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Are there members of the public that would like to speak?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. My name is John Myrie, Vice President with D.R. Horton. I'm here with Greg Mendoza, Project Manager with D.R. Horton as well. So it's a pleasure to be here. We've a lot of work has gone in to get a project to this stage. This is actually, as you probably have seen me up before, this is our 3rd project in front of the city in the last year. Building out in McSweeney, and then we're building our Heritage Place project infill right off Stetson and Elk. And now this third project, Tres Cerritos, it's a project with some history. So I can talk a little bit about that, and I can answer some of your questions on the infrastructure as well. But first on Tres Cerritos, so this is a project goes all the way back to the 1990s when it was first approved. It was approved as a golf course community specific plan. It got changed into split into two, Tres Cerritos East, Tres Cerritos West. And so it's gone through a lot. It was actually partially built out in the 2000s. This is a site that's about 2/3 graded already. So the entire site's been graded and disturbed. So we at D.R. Horton now hope to bring it all the way to completion. So it's a lot that's been going on. So we appreciate Monique, her patience and working through some of these conditions. And that's why it took some time, because when you go back to all the CEQA and all the entitlements, all the projects, a lot of stuff gets brought up. And that's why, for example, on these traffic signals go back all the way to the initial study. And at that time, there were impacts, like say all the way up to Costin, streets that are not really projects that we would go and build these improvements, but that we would pay a fair share. So we're not proposing anything that's going to change a condition from the tentative track map, from the CEQA documents. What we were trying to do in working with Monique is really get the right conditions as they were changed and modified and really clarified through different approvals. And the fair share is a condition that was changed back when the first tentative map was extended. So the revised conditions actually then added that fair share. So it's I think it's always been intent. The County of Riverside, they do that on a regular basis. They'll say, hey, you're impacting all kinds of intersections and traffic signals. So and they don't, it's just a policy rather than building, all these traffic signals for one project. I think you're right. It would be unfair, but our burden on some of these intersections are like 6-7%, real low numbers that, yeah, we should pay something. A lot of times cities don't have traffic fees, master traffic plans in place. So they want to kind of have to get your fair share. But all we're really looking for, and that's the conditions as were read in and changed, are just conditions that already match what's already been in all the previous documents. So, and kind of interesting, because when you get into a review like this, which is focused on architecture, homes, and landscape, it's just interesting because a lot of these conditions just get carried with the project and they get repeated in here. So that's why we delayed actually trying to get those correct and in there, because you can go back and refer to a 1990 document and things have changed and been revised. So that's kind of the explanation on the traffic signals on Celeste and Rose Road. So that's a collector street. So there's no homes, there's no driveways on that. And so that's a city standard collector street. And we build our half of the road, which is the north half, plus we're actually going to build a significant portion of the south half too. In fact, we're building curb to curb, now that I recall. So we're going to build that whole street. And we normally wouldn't have to do that. It's above the conditions, but it was actually something we agreed to do with the Ramona Creek developers. As you might recall, we've been involved in working with them on a lot of things like drainage and cooperating on things. So as part of our arrangement, we've went ahead and actually building more of Celeste Road. So we're going to build a full curb to curb, and yeah, it's 2 lanes with parking and bike lanes. I mean, it's a collector. It's a big road, and eventually it doesn't go all the way through over to Costin yet, but it starts here, and it's so it's a big road. So yeah, thank you to staff. I mean, we've come to know everybody really well now, and staff and HP appreciate all your work and help, but we're ready to go. Hope to we've already have our grading permit, and we've already trying to get some work started out there. It's partially graded, and hopefully here by the end of the year, maybe early next year, we'll be out there building homes. So I just ask your support tonight and approve this part of the review process. It's going to be a wonderful community. It's We're not dealing, it's with the infill kind of neighbors issue. We're up against these open spaces. These are big lots, big backyards, 70-foot rear yards. This is going to, with wider lots, we'll be able to add 3-car garages. This is going to be something pretty special. You get up a little elevation so you can kind of see down on the valley a little bit. It's a nice site, and it's going to, I think, help Ramona Creek, Trace Service East, everybody get their footing. So hopefully this area can really get built out. I can answer any questions as well.
I have a question. I noticed that there is a park planned in the community.
Correct.
What do you think, what is the timing of putting that park in? Are you going to wait till the whole site 1, site 2 is done? Or are you going to do it before site 2? What's your plans there?
That's a great question. I mean, we're the site, the normal course of business or our order of construction is start on the south, which is along Celeste Road. So our model complexes, so we'll build south and we'll work our way north. So we can't jump ahead of construction. So that's kind of in the middle and northern end of the site. So it'll probably come in maybe about halfway through the project. I can tell you this though, that with the market changing, we are, just from a selfish market standpoint, we want to get our parks built earlier now because we need it to sell homes. We can't just tell people there's going to be a park there. They want to see a park. So we're kind of aligned with cities and in jurisdictions where typically, yeah, we might be lagging a little bit on parks because sometimes there's not enough homes to really maintain it and keep it open. But yeah, I think this one will probably end up coming not more than halfway through the project, hopefully earlier. Quite honestly, some of the challenge is just getting the plans approved. And this one is going to be, we can't have people driving through construction. The construction has to be up to that area so that people aren't walking or driving through construction. I think that's going to be the main constraint to get that park open early.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there any condition that says a certain number of occupancies?
I don't recall that there is. If there is a condition, we're absolutely going to meet it. But I don't recall that there is a condition for that park to be open.
My only question is, I reading D.R. Horton's letter in regards to the different conditions. I see what you're saying. There was a lot of very high level general,
Yeah.
Kind of that
Yeah,
big
all the way
picture.
back to the early entitlements, Yeah.
For monitoring and
Yep.
all kinds of other
Yeah.
things. So with the proposed changes, you're fine with the draft
Are.
conditions as read?
As read in those last couple ones, we just didn't quite get those done before tonight, and we certainly didn't want to delay it again. So, that's why, those had to kind of be read in, but yeah, we appreciate staff working with us and it, we got through all the heavy work on it.
All right, thank you.
I just want to say it's exciting to see that coming in. And as you said earlier at the market, you guys are building these homes quicker than we can blink an eye sometimes. They come up quick. So I imagine you're going to be just as quick with this one to get it
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, we've that our library of homes, we have a pretty large library and then we select different homes. And so we know how to build these homes really, really well. These are, the designs are good and the quality with our trade base, they don't, it's not practice. They know how to build them. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Are there any online or e-comments?
I did not receive any e-comments and I don't show anyone requesting to speak online.
With that, we'll close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion? Do you have something?
Yeah, I guess my only comment, and this may be something that we can talk internally, maybe the staff or something, just like how the process worked to get through starting off with such a broad level of conditions, and how that got whittled down. I mean, this is not unique in regards to large specific plans. And you know, I agree with our city that we need to look at. I'm sure there's a lot more than we understand, but look at ways to better plan and ensure that those large infrastructure improvements, especially when we're talking about safety and drainage and storm and all those types of things, don't get pushed off in between these cycles, so that the residents, like we dealt with a couple of weeks ago, are dealing with flood insurance and things like that, because main infrastructure is not being constructed. And so I know that's way beyond scope of here, but just in general, a comment that, you know, most likely we're going to be dealing with in this area a situation where we're going to have partially developed out specific plans. I'm fully confident that both East West will make it through this cycle, but will we get all of the signals on Warren and everything that's going to be necessary to manage that increase in traffic? Every time I drive to work, it's just worse and worse and worse. And you know, hate to wait for 10, 15 years to pull bonds. It's just not the most efficient way of doing things. It doesn't seem to work very well. So I just a comment for the commission. I completely understand we can't burden a particular small development to it, but it sure seems like there's got to be a better way to make sure we get the infrastructure in to support development before development or in line with development, so that we're not chasing it, especially in regards to public safety and well, public safety. So that's my only comment.
Are you asking staff to give us an update on the infrastructure of that area or something, or what?
No, it's more of a just a development process issue, and it's not unique to this area. There's large infrastructure that's required to support the ultimate plan, and how those developments, the developments end up paying into the cost to develop that infrastructure. But oftentimes with just the cycles, we get the development, but we don't get the infrastructure. And so then we have a period of time where we have, you know, a lot of residents that have moved in, and they're living in a period of time, oftentimes a decade or more, where they don't have signals and they don't have access to
Or sewage?
Well, there are a couple of
That
those.
happened.
Yeah.
I remember like in Temecula, Winchester Road, before all those homes came in, they had such a wide lane road,
Mhm.
no stoplights. And it was just why is it so wide? And then over the course of many years, all those homes come in, but they planned ahead for all those homes to come in because they know they were coming.
Yeah.
And so I see what he's saying about that.
Well, HP, you guys are looking at that all the time, right?
Absolutely. And so just to make a comment, what we're trying to do is make sure that, one, the current developer is not overburdened based on the infrastructure improvements that they need to make. Two, we're planning on to make sure that they have, or city have, appropriate funding in the future if they can't build it now. Three is to make sure that we're not overly designing the intersections prior to what is necessary. So, for instance, we can't just randomly put in signalized intersection if there's only 1 or 2 cars going through the intersection per day, just because that's what we're anticipating in the future. So it has to make sense in order to put those infrastructure.
Don't get me wrong. I did not want intersections on State Street or Winchester Road or Dominigoni. I didn't.
Right. Absolutely. And we understand your concern about making sure that the new residents that are moving in has the proper infrastructures, all the necessary streets, signal lights, access, without going into a deficit of having, 4, 5, 6 cars deep before the light changes and so on. So we understand those concerns, but we really don't have too many options as a city to make one particular developer build out all the future impacts that would have on all those intersections. So,
and I'm by no means implying that whatsoever. It's more of just I mean, we're working with with the McSweeney Farms development, and some of the issues out there, and it's the nature of the beast. But it sure seems like there should be a better way, but I don't have any suggestions as to what that better way is. So, but it was more this project highlighted a couple things. One is it highlighted the continuity of, from the 90s on, and what the big picture was, and then how to manage those kind of the quilt work in development of that big picture, and how to sequence the infrastructure, and like you say, to make sure that we're everyone's paying their fair share in funding, so that we can make sure that as a community we build up just in time kind of thing. It's more of a comment, and sorry for taking up the time of this meeting for it, but also the process that it took for the city and the applicant to go through those conditions of approval, and how we started off with this huge list that there was a lot of comments and a lot of things that probably should not have been there in the first place. And I'd be interested to know offline maybe how that went, just because that obviously took some time and some effort. And so those are kind of the two elements that this particular project highlighted in my mind. So I'll stop there, and I would be glad if no one else has any comments to make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, go right ahead.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval resolution for site development review SDR 21-019 and model home marketing complex MHC 21-005 as illustrated in the development plan shown in attachment number 1, exhibits 1B through 1I, and subject to the conditions of approval, exhibit 1A, and the stoplight conditions
As modified by staff.
as modified by staff.
Second.
And passes 4 in favor.
Welcome to the north side of town.
7 department reports, city attorney report. Nothing to report. Community development reports, Director Kane.
I have one thing I wanted to share with you. At the council meeting, we had an urgency ordinance regarding the, let me get the right term, the temporary emergency sleeping cabins. So that was originally done for 45 days, but we had to take it back to make a full year, adding additional 10 months and 15 days to make it a full year of the urgency ordinance. So now it's valid for entire 12 months. So that's the change that they made at the council.
What's this for again?
This is for the temporary emergency housing.
Oh, okay.
So that was the update that I had for you guys.
Future agenda items, Director Kane.
We have some interesting things coming up before you. We have a work study that we're planning for a commercial container. This is basically a commercial development that is, majority of it is going to be constructed out of recycled containers. Recycled doesn't mean old. It just means that containers that are not being shipped back to the origination, and they'll utilize that as a building block to make commercial development that is a little more interesting, a little more incubator space, smaller for more of the mom and pop shops that can locate within that area with a common, more of a common sit down eating area, if you will. So that's what's before you. We have Rally's drive-through that's coming before you, and Express Car Wash.
Car wash.
Just
Yeah.
one more.
Just one more. How many car washes do we have now?
Well, we're adding all those homes for all those cars, so gotta have enough.
And we don't want people washing cars in the driveway because we need to save the water. So
That's right.
Correct. Must be something in that business. I don't get it.
One of the top 5 businesses lucratively.
Is it really? Oh,
And we also have safety element and environmental justice element that's coming before you soon. So we're still working on the second work study. So after that, we'll bring something back a little more solid.
Okay. Planning Commissioner reports, Director Kang.
Commissioner Hill?
My family keeps asking, when are we gonna get a McGill's Jr.?
Miguel's Jr.
Yeah.
Okay.
McGill's Jr. And
Country
I don't
Ice.
know. HP's working on it. I know he is. He's working on it. I
We'll
have
work
nothing
on-
else to report.
We'll definitely work on that one. Commissioner Wood?
Nothing to report. And thank you for the patience. Just, it's one of those things that I think as you get from my other hat, seeing this process, you start to see how the sausage is made, and it seems, yeah, it's gross.
Sorry.
Really.
Vice Chair Beamsterfer?
Not, only thing to report is the end of the month, my grandparents' 75th wedding anniversary. So
Wow.
maybe afterwards, if we can all just say happy anniversary.
Do you think it's gonna work
that'd
out?
be great. 75 years.
Do you think they're gonna stick together? Or?
Old 94. I'm turning 95 now. That's true.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You'll have to come back with ask them what the secret is so we can all.
Right. We'll have a workshop.
Yes.
Chair Lemke?
I just wanted to share that we are working on the first ever mayor's ball for both the Hemet and San Jacinto cities to have this together for the Valley Stronger Together. Pretty exciting. So that's coming September 23rd. And then we'll be working on State of the City for our mayor, Malcolm Lilienthal, in November. So, things are still busy, lots to do, and people are getting back together, hanging out. So it's good.
I did forget to mention one item. City is going live starting tomorrow with queue list system, which is you could get in line remotely from your phone, or you could come into the city hall. But this will give you a time frame, how long the line is, and you can select different departments or divisions. So we're going live tomorrow. It's real easy. Just do a QR code scan and you put your name and phone number and select the department or division that you'd like to talk to.
Very cool. So does that work for planning commissioners too?
We haven't put you in there, but we can.
So different than the DMV, this one, you don't have to go in first. Like the DMV, you have to go in first and then.
No, you do not.
Not anymore?
Online.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can now?
you could do it on your phone.
Oh, very cool.
So folks that are coming from, say, LA or different distance,
yeah.
they could kind of monitor how the line is moving, and they can sign in as they're driving. Well, not while they're driving, but
Before they get
well,
in their car.
right.
get in
to
the
drive.
car, they could set their time. Correct.
Perfect.
Cool. Very cool.
Forget to mention one thing. We did have this last week, we had that meeting with the SRI. You were unable to attend
Oh,
with
yeah.
the mayor. And it's actually really interesting what they want to do and what they want to bring to the city, and more an integrated map kind of situation where we can put anything from where the homeless population is to, where we're using more water in parts of town. I mean, you can really do anything with this, and it's there, it's available, and they're looking to hire somebody for the city to do that. So it's actually kind of exciting what they want to do with that. That's the only thing I have to report.
Actually, thank you for reminding me. So it's like the question Commissioner Hill asked, is there enough car washes? Another one. But through the ESRI system, you can actually pinpoint and identify all the car washes within the city, the distance to or travel distance to from the residents, how long it'll take, and how many cars that each individual car wash can handle per day or per week. And you can justify whether you are deficient or you are surplus in the car wash business in the city of Hemet. So you can utilize that data for anything. We're using car wash as an example, but it could be restaurants.
Amazing system. Like
Yeah.
really, it's going to be.
It could
very-
be anything that water system. It could be anything that you would like to put on that list.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Esri is that it plays nice with others, and so like for Eastern we have a very robust GIS system, and so you
Workforce
can
development too. It's amazing.
you can share data, and that's great. 21st century.
Well, before I close this meeting, if we can all reach in, make sure our mic's on. and wish his grandparents a very happy
We have names.
1, 2, 3.
happy
Happy anniversary.
This meeting is adjourned.